Alex, I need to say something, and I need you to hear it clearly.
Okay, that sounds ominous.
British English is simply better, more elegant, more correct, and by the end of today, I'm going to prove it.
Absolutely not. American English is clearer, more modern, and, frankly, more fun to listen to. We are doing this.
We are doing this. Today, for the first time on this show, it's a competition. 3 rounds: vocabulary, spelling, and accents. Whoever wins the most rounds, well, we'll see what happens. But more importantly, you decide the real winner at the end.
This is gonna be chaos. I love it.
Grab your coffee, or as Alex would probably call it, your to-go cup. Let's get into it. Welcome to Coffee with English. I'm Mia, representing the United Kingdom today.
And I'm Alex, representing the United States. Normally, we tell you a story. Today, we're competing.
3 rounds: a vocabulary showdown, a spelling battle, and an accent challenge. Every round has a winner, and we're keeping score.
And at the end, no neat lesson, no tidy conclusion. You, the viewer, vote for the real winner in the comments.
Let's see the scoreboard before we begin. Okay, round 1. I'm going to say a word in my accent. Alex will say the same word in his. Viewers, guess which one is British and which is American before we tell you. Ready?
Ready. Let's go.
Schedule.
Schedule.
Did you hear it? I say schedule. Alex says schedule. Same word, completely different sound.
Next one. Water.
Water.
Water. Notice how I almost say a duh sound in the middle. Water? That's a very American thing.
Whereas I pronounce the T very clearly. Water. Last one. Tomato.
Oh, this is the famous one. Tomato.
Tomato.
That's genuinely the most stereotypical difference there is.
It really is. Okay, that round doesn't get a score. That one was just for fun. On to the real competition. First pair, lift versus elevator. I rest my case. Lift is short, simple, does exactly what it says. It lifts you.
Elevator literally describes the function too. It elevates you. Equally logical, more syllables, more satisfying to say.
I'll allow that one's close. Next, biscuit versus cookie.
Okay, small warning. For American viewers, in British English, biscuit means a cookie, not the soft bread biscuit we have in the US. Completely different food.
Very important note. In Britain, if you ask for a biscuit, you're getting something crunchy with your tea. Point, clarity matters. So, slight point deduction for confusing an entire nation of Americans.
That's not how scoring works, but fine. Next, holiday versus vacation.
Holiday can mean any day off and a trip. More versatile word. More versatile word.
Vacation specifically means a trip. No ambiguity. Clarity wins again, in my opinion.
We'll let the viewer decide on that one. Next, trousers versus pants.
This one actually matters practically. In British English, pants means underwear, not trousers. Mixing this up is a genuinely funny mistake to make while traveling.
Extremely true, and extremely important safety information for any traveler. Last pair, queue versus line.
Line is just simpler. One syllable, done.
Q has more personality. It even looks like a little line of people if you look at the letters. Q, U, E, U.
That is the most British defense of a word I have ever heard.
Thank you. All right, let's check the scoreboard. Spelling round. Colour with a U versus colour without a U.
We just removed an unnecessary letter. More efficient.
Or we kept a letter that reflects the word's French origin, which is, frankly, more sophisticated.
Next, theater versus theater?
Same situation. The re ending honors the original French and Greek roots.
Or it's just spelled the way it sounds, which is more logical for new learners.
That's actually a fair point. I'll give you that one. Last, realize with an S versus realize with a Z.
Z. It's just a more fun letter to write, honestly.
Z is a perfectly fine letter, but S has been doing this job for centuries without complaint.
Let's see where that puts us. Okay, final challenge before the vocabulary rounds wrap up. Mia, give me your best American accent.
Oh my gosh, you guys, this is like literally the best coffee ever.
That was actually not bad. Okay, my turn. British accent.
Go on then.
Right then, shall we pop to the shop and grab a copper, mate?
Pop to the shop. Incredible. You've clearly been studying. That deserves a bonus point.
I'll take it.
If you're ordering food in London, you'd say, "Could I get some chips, please?" And you'd receive what Americans call French fries.
But order chips in the US and you'll get a bag of crispy potato chips instead. Context changes everything here.
Exactly. It's not about which is correct. It's about which country you're in.
In the US, you might ask, is the subway nearby? In London, the same question gets you a pedestrian underpass, not a train.
You'd want to say the tube or the underground instead. Small word, big confusion if you get it wrong. If a British person says, "I need new trainers," they mean sneakers, not someone who trains you at the gym.
And if an American says, "I need new pants," just remember, in the UK, that sentence means something very different.
Context is genuinely everything with these two dialects. Okay, final practice round. I'll say the British version, Alex says the American version. Repeat both, out loud.
Let's do it.
I'm going on holiday next week.
I'm going on vacation next week.
Can you take the lift to the 3rd floor?
Can you take the elevator to the 3rd floor?
I'll have a biscuit with my tea.
I'll have a cookie with my coffee.
There's a long queue outside the shop.
There's a long line outside the store.
I left my trousers at the dry cleaner.
I left my pants at the dry cleaner.
What's the color of your new trainers?
What's the color of your new sneakers?
We're going to the theater tonight.
We're going to the theater tonight.
I didn't realize it was so late.
I didn't realize it was so late.
Could I get some chips, please?
Could I get some fries, please?
Is the underground station nearby?
Is the subway station nearby?
Let's pop to the shop for a cuppa.
Let's go to the store for some coffee.
All right, by the numbers. Alex is ahead, but I want to make my final case before we hand this over to you.
Go for it. Though I think the scoreboard speaks for itself.
British English carries history, precision, and, frankly, charm. Every word has a story behind it.
And American English is direct, efficient, and arguably easier to learn for most new learners, which actually matters a lot if you're watching this video.
That is An unfairly good point for a closing argument.
Thank you. But honestly, neither of us is right. Both are valid, useful, beautiful versions of English, and the best one is just whichever one you need for your life, your job, or your travels.
I agree with that completely, even though I will never admit American spelling makes more sense out loud.
And I'll never admit Q deserves 4 unnecessary letters.
So here's where we leave it. We are not telling you who won today.
You decide. Comment Team British or Team American below and tell us which words surprised you the most.
That's today's Showdown, coffee learners. No neat lesson today, just a fun, genuinely useful look at 2 dialects of the same beautiful language.
Whichever version you're learning something real and valid. Don't let anyone tell you one version of English is more correct than another.
Your homework today, pick one pair from this episode, lift, elevator, biscuit, whichever, and use it in a sentence out loud today.
And don't forget to vote in the comments, Team British or Team American.
If you enjoyed this format, let us know. We might bring back the Showdown for other topics. Subscribe if you haven't yet.
Next week, we're going back to stories. Mia's going to tell us about the time she tried to make English-speaking friends and almost got it very wrong.
Oh, that one's a good one. Until then, keep your coffee warm, and whichever English you speak, speak it proudly.
Bye, everyone.